Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to see you again.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. The last time we spoke, it's 6 months ago in March, you told me that you were quitting your job and completely surrendered to the course. And I am so curious. What happened? How is it like?
Hmm. I wouldn't quite frame it in those terms. Um, I would have started teaching a little over 2 years ago, and I was a very reluctant teacher. I had people ask me to teach, and I resisted it for a very long time. Um, and I didn't feel like I felt like it could potentially be unhelpful to me to rush straight into teaching. And so I did resist it for quite a while and went into it kicking and screaming. Um, and then I did. And it was very apparent to me because I'd just come through an awakening. And it was very apparent to me that if I started to build a new self-concept, Course in Miracles says the concept of the self stands like a shield, a silent barricade before the truth and bars it from your sight. Um, and so if I start taking on this new concept of a spiritual teacher, whatever that is, the only one that's going to hurt is me. And so I was involved in a process of dismantling identity, not wanting to take on a new one. So I was very cautious around that in the beginning. And so for the first year, people would ask me, can we make a donation to the podcast? Can we contribute? And would you do private coaching? And I said, no, no, I'm not doing that. Um, I'm not turning this into a concept. I'm not turning this into a career. This is what's happening. And it's very apparent that this is what I should be doing in this particular moment, but I'm not making any attachment to it. I'm not turning it into a business or a work or a self-concept. That's not what I'm doing. And it was only after about a year that it felt like the obvious thing to do to allow people to make a donation if they wanted and stop turning them away. And it felt like the obvious thing to do to open up to doing a very small amount of coachings. And I did that probably for another year. And then it was only at that point that it felt like the obvious thing to do was to now do this full time based on the fact that there was a desire that it be so. And it felt like I was in a healthy enough place to do that. So I've never from the start wanted the mantle of spiritual teacher. And it has been I've been so blessed by the teaching that has happened every single day because anything I've ever needed to know has been brought to me in quite extraordinary ways. I've been sort of lifted up through the whole process, you know. Um, which sort of brings me back to what the Course says, the healer who relies on his own readiness is endangering his understanding. You're perfectly safe as long as you're completely unconcerned about your own readiness, but maintain a constant trust in God's. So I've certainly found that to be true. But let me say that I don't think I would have found that to be true. I know I would not have found that to be true if I decided, oh, I want to be a spiritual teacher. This is what's going to make me fulfilled. This is what I need to do in order to be happy. I need to get rid of my normal job and be a holy ego that's teaching other people and saving them and telling them how fabulous I am and how fabulous they can be if they just listen to me. Um, that would have been error. And I think that's the crucial consideration in these things is that A Course in Miracles says the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for themselves. That's it. That's your one responsibility is to accept the atonement for yourself. Um, it's not to have everyone else accept the atonement because this is what they need in their life. And I'm telling you. So what I think is that when we have a glimpse of truth, there is a natural human impulse to defend against the truth, for the ego to sustain itself by now teaching the truth to all the other egos. That's a very, very human thing to do, especially the way A Course in Miracles is set up with the, the manual for teachers. It's so compelling. The minute you have a little bit of a glimpse of the truth is to go, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to teach everyone else about this. This is going to be fabulous. No, that's a defense against the truth. And so I think that in life, they say those who can't do teach. And I think that's doubly, trebly so on the spiritual path, is that when that impulse to throw yourself into, the glimpse of truth here, and now suddenly I'm like, everyone needs to know this, and I need to show my family this, and I need to buy everyone copies of A Course in Miracles, and I need to be a spiritual teacher telling everyone about this fabulousness. And that's a defense against the truth. It means I haven't gone far enough into the truth. I haven't yet accepted the atonement for myself. Because A Course in Miracles is saying, let's take some nice quotes from A Course in Miracles. Let's take this one first of all. The emphasis of this course always remains the same. It is at this moment that complete salvation is offered you. And it is at this moment that you can accept it. This is still your one responsibility. Atonement might be equated with total escape from the past and total lack of interest in the future. Heaven is here. There's nowhere else. Heaven is now. There is no other time. No teaching that does not lead to this is of concern to God's teachers. Now, the trap here is, I'm going to feel fabulous when I'm a spiritual teacher. That's going to be my salvation. That's going to be the salvation of the world. Everyone needs to know this. Okay, now that is the egoic trap. The one plan of the ego is that you stay the hell out of the now, because that's the death of the ego. That's the death of the imaginary separate self. That is your awakening to the truth of who you are now. And so anytime I leave the now, which I can't really, but thoughts hypnotize me, and I think they're my thoughts, and I think I can be somewhere other than now, and that takes me out of the place where salvation is in this moment. And so whenever I have a goal in the future, that goal hurts me, because that goal takes me out of the only place that the truth of who I am is, and that's now. And that's such a trap in everything, because that includes, I'll be happy when I get these exams. I'll be happy when I get the right job. I'll be happy when I meet the right person. I'll be happy when that person treats me better. I'll be happy when we're married. I'll be happy when we have kids. I'll be happy when I'm a spiritual teacher. I'll be happy when I've done all my forgiveness work. I'll be happy when I awaken in the future. I'll be happy when. Once you say that, you're lost until you come back to now. Let's take a course quote connected with that, because this, and so you'll notice that that is completely incompatible with the way we understand manifesting things like The Secret. Okay. And let's take something connected with that. This is from chapter 26, section 6. Anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can hurt you and will do so. Because the minute there's striving, you don't know that now is where your truth is. There's no striving now. Salvation is here. Heaven is here. There's nowhere else. Heaven is now. There's no other time. Anything in this world, you have left the quiet center of now, where salvation is. And now you're projecting yourself into an imaginary future and going, this will be what's good. This will be what makes a difference. This will be my salvation. That's the subtext. Anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can hurt you and will do so. Not because it has the power to hurt, but just because you have denied it is but an illusion and made it real. And so it's real to you. It's not nothing. And though its perceived reality, and through its perceived reality has entered all the world of sick illusions. All belief in sin, in power of attack, in hurt and harm, in sacrifice and death has come to you. No one can make one illusion real and still escape the rest. For who can choose to keep the ones that he prefers and find the safety that the truth alone can give? Who can believe illusions are the same, just illusions, and still maintain that even one is best? So we have to be very careful of this idea that being a spiritual teacher is serving spirit differently than collecting garbage or minding children or running a library or working in an office. That's what the Course calls a hierarchy of illusions. It says one is noble and one is not. It says one is holy and one is unholy. It says one is important and one is unimportant. It says there is an order of difficulty in miracles, a hierarchy of illusions. And so if I find myself in a situation going, I don't really like my job, I think if I was a spiritual teacher, this would be fabulous. Okay. Now, from the very outset, that's error. And you're not going to teach anyone anything. All you're going to teach is error. You're going to teach a hierarchy of illusions. It's going to pollute. So guilt, all the sick illusions of separateness and guilt and salvations in the future and causes in the past, all that comes in and that's going to leak into your teaching and you'll be no use to anyone. But similarly, if you're in a job now going, I hate this job. If I get a new job, that's going to make me happy. If I move to a different office. No, it won't. No, it won't. Because there is no hierarchy of illusions and there's no happiness in illusions and there's no cause in the world. None. The world has no power. There's not even cause and effect in the world. It's purely an effect and it has no power over your mind. The only thing that affects your happiness or unhappiness is what you're doing with your mind. Are you getting involved in thoughts or are you outside of thoughts? That's the only thing that makes a difference to your happiness. Okay. Lesson 52. I have no private thoughts because I'm not a separate self. I have no private thoughts, but it's only private thoughts of which I'm aware. What can they mean? They do not exist and they mean nothing. Nothing. None of them. They do not make a powerful contribution to the truth, and every believed thought binds you into servitude with the ego thought system. Okay, thoughts have nothing to do with who you are. Okay, so your job is not causing you unhappiness. Your thoughts about the job are the cause of your unhappiness. Okay, so you don't have to change jobs. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it's not the cause of your unhappiness. And unless you undo the unhappiness that is based on what you're doing with your mind, you'll move to a new job and be just as unhappy. Because it has nothing to do with the world. The world isn't making you feel anything. You're choosing to get involved with thoughts, or you're joining with the Holy Spirit by observing thoughts without believing them, without getting involved in them, without seeing your identity in them. As the Course says, an oddly assorted procession that has little or nothing to do with you. You know, thoughts are happening, but you're not thinking them. There's no one thinking them. It's the ego thought system is a thought system. There's no entity there thinking. It's just thoughts. They're not yours. That's what hurts you. So my salvation isn't moving to a new office. It is not becoming a spiritual teacher. If I think it is, I'm going to be a really poor spiritual teacher. And so when you get onto an airplane, they say to you, the oxygen masks are above your head. Put your own oxygen mask on first before you try to help anyone else. Now, this is the equivalent of the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. If I am locked into a desire, which the Course says can and will hurt me because I'm no longer, I don't know now is all that's real, and that's where happiness is. So if that's the case, I'm useless to anyone. I have not put my own mask on first. I am deliberately defending against putting my own oxygen mask on by wanting to put one on everyone else. And that's the trap. So is there perfect peace in my mind? Whether I'm working in an office, whether I'm collecting garbage, whether I'm teaching Course in Miracles, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm minding kids, whether I'm a housewife or a house husband, am I making the peace of the present moment contingent on what's happening in the dream? If so, I need to accept the atonement for myself. Happiness is here no matter what's happening in the dream. It doesn't matter if a body's being crucified. So what? What does that have to do with the quiet center outside of thoughts? So I have to learn how to work from the quiet center. That I have to live from the quiet center. I have to learn how to undo my habit of getting involved with thoughts and thinking they're true and thinking they're me, because they're not. They're nothing. They're not dangerous. They're not bad. They're not evil. They're nothing. Nothing. So the only thing I need in my life is to learn how to not get involved with thoughts, but return to the quiet center of no thought. The quiet center where there is always peace. So we talked when we said we were going to talk about this today, we said we talk about sacrifice. Or sorry, not sacrifice, about surrender, which I love the word surrender. A Course in Miracles tells us about forgiveness. Forgiveness is still, and it quietly does nothing. It looks and waits and judges not. Okay, so forgiveness isn't a doing. It's a cessation of doing. Because all the time in my mind are the judgments about the world, okay? And now there's all these judgments in my mind, and I have judgments about the judgments. And there's all these feelings coming up, and I have judgments about feelings, and that locks me into the ego's world of experience. And I don't know who I am. And there's only one way to return to the quiet center. There's only one way to know the equanimity that is always here in the now. There is only one way for me to separate myself out from the insane voice talking to itself in my mind that pretends to be me, that thinks it needs its salvation in the future, or through doing that wants to blame the past for why it's not fulfilled. Instead, I get the hell out of thoughts and fulfillment is here already. Total equanimity. But I can only access this by one mechanism, non-doing. A forgiveness which is still. No commentary, no stories, and quietly does nothing. So what would we call that? Surrender. The world's going to do what it's doing. The script is written, so what? Total surrender. Total surrender. What could you not accept if you but knew all things, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? Okay, accept that. And now you don't get to judge the world. And you don't get to want to change it. So you surrender. Is the body sick? Surrender. Doesn't mean you don't go to the doctor, but you surrender to what is. All things are working together for good. The body might be sick. The body goes to the doctor. The body takes medicine. The medicine works or it doesn't. The body lives or it dies. Surrender. Forgiveness is still and quietly does nothing. Surrender. That doesn't mean there's not an insane voice in my head going, oh, this shouldn't happen to me. I can't believe it. I'm always the one this happens to. Oh, it's always the good ones that suffer. Okay, that's going to be there. That's not you. That's not you. Okay, so you surrender to that. You forgive it. You forgive the world doing what it's doing because it's an illusion. You forgive the voice in your head doing what it's doing because it's an illusion. It's not you. All your suffering comes from thinking that's you. That's not you. And there is sin, guilt, and fear coming up in your mind. There are emotions and there's upset. Okay. And you surrender to that. Total forgiveness, total surrender, complete non-doing. And only in that complete non-doing do you find this quiet center, this equanimity that is here. No matter what's happening in the world, no matter what's happening with thought, no matter what's happening with emotions, it doesn't require the world to change. It doesn't require thoughts to stop. It doesn't require suffering coming up to be seen and healed to not be there. No. In total surrender, total equanimity is always here. And you are this, the quiet center. Now from here, only attainable through complete forgiveness and surrender. Only attainable when the illusion of control is let go of, because there's no control. The one who would control is an illusion. It's a thought. It's not you. Okay, so it's only when control is completely surrendered. And all doing is surrendered. And the Course says, let all things be exactly as they are. Well, in that, peace and equanimity is discovered to always be here in the now. This is the quiet center. This is, I rest in God. And from here, I have no attachment, none, to what happens next in the world. Whatever happens is for the purpose of forgiveness. Whatever happens in the world is for the purpose of showing me I've left the quiet center. I've got involved with thoughts. And now I'm seeking my salvation in the future, and I'm blaming the past for my lack of satisfaction. And all I have to do is surrender. Let all things be exactly as they are now to know the heaven that's already here in my mind. And from here, it doesn't matter to me whether I work or I don't work, whether I have a home or whether I'm on the streets, whether the body is sick, whether the body is well, whether the body is young, whether the body is old. Gone. Gone. Because I have discovered the quiet center. I have discovered the holy instant of now, where there is nothing to desire and nothing to resist. From here, there is vision. And A Course in Miracles tells us everything seen with vision is healed and holy. Now, nothing seen without vision means anything. And where there's no meaning, there's chaos. The world is emptiness dancing. Lesson number 1 says it doesn't mean anything. It's just emptiness dancing. Lesson number 2, you've made up meanings for everything, which it doesn't have. You've said that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. Spiritual teaching is going to be fabulous. Collecting garbage, that's a bad thing. Course in Miracles is going, you made that up. That's nothing. That's chaos. The Course says, make this year different by making everything the same. There is only one purpose. There's no meaning in anything, but there's one purpose. It is for the purpose of forgiveness. The suffering that's coming up in your mind that you're trying to blame emptiness dancing for, okay, is the suffering because you're not in the quiet center. Now the world is my savior. It keeps reminding me, you're not in the quiet center. You think your salvation's in the world. You think the world is the cause of your unhappiness. You think if you do something in the future, happiness, you've said since you were 5 years old, I will be happy when. It's going to be just around the corner. That one thing that's going to make me happy. You're still doing that. You're still doing that. You're still lying to yourself. You know, I am what? 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, and I'm still lying to myself. This has never worked. I've said I'll be happy when, in every single moment of every single day of every single year up until today, years of age, and I'm still lying to myself. Because I want to keep mixing myself with the ego thought system, creating my own suffering, but lying to myself, going, I can make this work. I can be a separate self. I can be a happy separate self. Okay, it has eluded me. I'll grant you that. It has not happened, but it's just around the corner. Okay? I have thrown God's oneness and love back in his face. I've made up a world. I'm in this world. I'm absolutely miserable. Okay? It hasn't worked. All right? So I'm like the prodigal son that went, no, I don't want your oneness. I'm going to go off and do my thing in my world, and I'm going to be happy. So when does the prodigal son realize he's sleeping with pigs and eating pig food? Lying to himself that the ship is going to come in. Because it won't. Course in Miracles calls it seek and do not find. And in the Course, it says to us, do you want to be right or happy? Do you want to keep saying to yourself, when I've done enough forgiveness, when I've read the Course a few more times, when I've done the workbook again, my ship's gonna come in? No, it's not. Salvation is now or never. And you find it through total surrender. And you discover a presence that's here, outside of thoughts. Witness to all thoughts and feelings and goals and desires that arise, dancing in front of the I that you are. And none of them have any power over you. You are that now, in this holy instant. And you can only come home to this by total surrender. You cannot come home to this by saying, I'm going to be a fabulous spiritual teacher, and that's going to make the difference. Okay? I'm going to be happy when my kids are happy. No, you won't. No, you won't. You never have been. It's a lie. You're miserable. You're terrified of death. You feel detached from everyone. No relationship is satisfactory. You're worried about all of them. You're ambivalent about all of them. Okay? You're miserable. You're sleeping with pigs and eating pig food. Okay? And I'm going to be a spiritual teacher and I'm going to devote myself to spirit. That's more pig food. Pig food. There is no future. There is only now. The now that's appearing as the appearances of past, present, and future. But there's only now. And you are the now. You're not in the now. You are the now. Because there's only one mind dreaming a world, and it's you. Not you, the person. That's part of your dream. You're the one that's dreaming all people. You are the now, that within which the world appears to be happening, by which it's known and out of which it's made. You go find that through total surrender to now. And don't delay it with, I will have this happiness when I'm a spiritual teacher. Or when I get a new job. Or when I meet a new person. Or when I get a new pet. Or when the money situation is a bit more secure. Pig food. It won't fill you. Nothing fills a black hole, which is the ego thought system, which keeps you out of now, where salvation already is. You already are the light of the world. You just think you're a person. But you're not. And when you want to save other people, you have attacked them. But only because you attacked yourself first. Because when you come home to the quiet center, you find invulnerability, equanimity, peace, stillness. Okay, and from here, it's quite apparent this is what everyone is now. They are already this. One pristine, sovereign I am is shining as its dream without ever actually becoming it. Everyone is already that. Now, if you attack the I am that you are, to imagine yourself the nightmare of an I am this, you will now attack I am everywhere to see it as an I am that. And you, the holy ego, I am this, will now say, I will now change all the I am that's. I'm going to cure the I am that's. I'm going to make all the I am that's holy. They're already holiness itself. Holiness is appearing as the world without ever ceasing to be holiness. Holiness is appearing as war, and it's still holiness. Because the images mean nothing. But holiness is appearing as all of them. You are that holiness, and so is everyone else. I need do nothing. And my only job is to find the quiet center and stay there. And when I don't, the world will show me that I have left the quiet center of now. And now the soul activity of the imaginary separate self begins, seeking and resisting, grasping and grievances, special love and special hate. Okay, and nothing works. I have to get the hell out of the mind, get the hell out of thoughts, and return back home to what is here through total forgiveness. and surrender. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Only in total defenselessness against the world, thoughts, feelings. If I try and do something, I'm lost. I'm saying salvation is when I do this. No, it's not. Salvation is here. Let go. This is the quiet center. And when I operate from here, everyone that comes in contact with me gets pulled into the quiet center in their mind. As Kenneth Wapnick says, it doesn't matter if you're reading the phone book. If you do that from the quiet center, everyone around you feels the quiet in their mind and the love. It doesn't matter if I'm serving them coffee. It doesn't matter if I'm filling their gas. Well, we're back in Europe, petrol. It doesn't matter if I'm polishing their shoes. It doesn't matter if I'm teaching them about A Course in Miracles. And if I think any of those have any more importance or are any holier than any others, I'm lost. There is no hierarchy of illusions. If I'm joining with people because I'm teaching A Course in Miracles, or if I'm attending a ball game or the theater, or I'm going on a family day out, if I think one of those is holier or more worthy than the other, I'm lost and I have nothing to teach anyone. So that's what I would say in terms of serving spirit. Because you see, the ego is the I know mind. And the I know mind is all the meanings I've made up for emptiness dancing. That is chaos. That's a good thing. That's a bad thing. That should happen to me. That shouldn't happen to me. I need to seek for this. I need to grasp at that. I need to resist this. That's all chaos. That's the I know mind. Once you think you know something, you think you're an ego. You're not, but you're deluded and you're suffering. And you think seeking and resisting and leaving the present moment for a future salvation is going to save you. No, it won't. You have to get the hell out of the I know mind into the I don't know mind. Everything is for forgiveness. I don't need to know anything else. Everything is to push me back into the quiet center so I can remember God. Everything is so I can find the happiness the world can't intrude on. And it's only from here I'm right-minded. And it's only from here I can help anyone. And it's only from here I can find happiness. There's none in the world. It can't make me happy and it can't make me unhappy. Only what I'm doing with my mind can do that. Get the hell out of your thoughts and you can't be unhappy. Okay, thoughts is the matrix. Emptiness is dancing as images which mean nothing, and thoughts turn it into a world, turn it into a hell. That there's a me here and there's a you there, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, and these are the good people and these are the bad people. It's all made up. Everything's emptiness dancing. And you're that.
So,
unless you think you're thinking.
yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. So, uh, uh, when you stopped a normal job,
Mm-hmm.
were you already living in the stillness, in the emptiness, or did you vacillate? Did
No,
it? Did,
I would still vacillate.
yeah.
So no, never selling myself here as the enlightened guru. All right.
No.
Ken Wapnick used to say, run from anyone that tells you they're
Yeah.
enlightened. Run like hell. No, there is still, Ramana Maharshi used to say, to his disciples, I no longer come and go.
Hmm.
So I can firmly say that I still come and go,
Yeah.
but every day I spend more time outside of thoughts than I do in them. And
Right.
that is my number one priority in life. There is nothing more important than this, is that in the now, not, oh, I must stop leaving the now. Okay. That's nonsense. Okay. In the now, I can always come back home through surrender and forgiveness
Yeah.
to the equanimity that's always here. And that's all that matters. So within calendar time, within clock time, there's more time here every single day than there was the day before. But I still have the illusion of coming and going. Because let me be very clear, you are the emptiness. You are silence and stillness. That's who you are. The mind imagines there is a coming and going,
Yeah.
but there's no coming and going.
Yeah.
So it's only illusion. You already are the light of the world. You cannot be anything apart from that, but you can believe thoughts and think yourself something that doesn't exist. Does that make sense?
Totally, totally. And would you say that quitting a normal job was helpful for you to be more still in your mind, to come back more to
No, that's
no,
magic. That's magic.
that's magic. Yeah,
Magic says that the cause of me not being still, the cause of me not being happy
right.
is something that's going on in the world,
Yeah.
and that the answer to my salvation is to make a change in the world.
Mm,
This is what's going to make all the difference. So the minute I say, no, what happened in the world, this is what, no,
no,
no. So the only thing that brings you home to stillness is total surrender to
right,
whatever is happening in the world.
right.
There is no other way. Yesterday's lesson, today's was beautiful.
Yeah.
And yesterday's was very similar in the sense that it says only forgiveness
Mm,
brings me home to God.
mm,
Only total surrender. That's all. Nothing. The
mm,
word, there's no salvation in the world. Its only purpose is for me to see, oh, I think the world's affecting me. I think salvation's in the world. That
mm,
means I don't know what I am in the holy instant. But by God, I can return there. And I need only surrender everything.
mm.
And
Only everything.
equanimity is here in this
Yeah,
moment.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter now. Let's read something from the course.
yeah.
Okay, we have said anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can and will hurt you because it
Mm,
takes you out of the now. You think there's a future where salvation is. No, it's not. It's now. So here's another one. This is from the Song of Prayer. It is not easy to realize that prayers for things, for status, for human love, for external gifts of any kind are always made to set up jailers and hide from guilt. Okay, so you have left the truth, the equanimity of what you are in the present moment in the quiet center. You have left that. You think you are a separate self made out of thoughts and the thought that someone is thinking them. You think you're an ego. The guilt is horrific. The pain, the lack, the need, totally illusory, but you think it's real. And now you think the answer to the suffering here is to get a new job, to find a new relationship, to have more money. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's to get the hell out of your mind. Get the hell out of your head. Come back home to presence. So again, as long as I'm saying this will save me, this will be the answer to unhappiness. This is what will change everything. Once I do that, Course is saying to us, you're setting up jailers.
mm,
These things are used for goals that substitute for God. Instead of coming home to the equanimity and the equilibrium and the peace that's here and now, where God is, I'm saying, no, 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 I'm going to keep all the suffering of not knowing who I am, and I'm going to try and fix it with illusions in the world
yeah.
instead of returning home to God in the stillness. And therefore distort the purpose of prayer. The desire for them is the prayer. I don't even have to go, oh God, please make my body better. Please give me more money. Please make sure I don't lose the house. I don't even have to do that. The very desire for it, the very thought that I need these things to be happy means you don't know who the hell you are. You're lost to illusions. The desire for them is the prayer. The answer is that if you desire anything, you don't know who you are. You're not out of thoughts. You're imprisoned in them, and the prison is made out of thoughts. And you can't think your way out of it. You can only forgive your way out of it.
Yeah. Look at it.
Yeah.
Right. Look at it with the spirit. Right.
Yeah. To continue on that passage, the goal of God, which is the only one that's worth talking about because there's only happiness in that. The goal of God is lost in the quest for lesser goals of any kind. And prayer becomes requests for enemies.
Mm.
Think of the cost and understand it well. All other goals are at the cost of God. But let's contrast that with something else here. It's from chapter 18. To do anything involves the body. And if you recognize you need do nothing because you find the quiet center, you are in that quiet center is everywhere. All is well. To do anything involves the body. And if you recognize you need do nothing, you have withdrawn the body's value from your mind. Here is the quick and open door through which you slip past centuries of effort and escape from time. This is the way in which sin loses all attraction right now. For here is time denied and past and future gone. Who needs do nothing has no need for time. To do nothing is to rest. Now, again, this is total surrender. Do nothing. And to make a peace within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. Yet there will always be this place of rest to which you can return. And you can be more aware of this quiet center of the storm than all its raging activity. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world and thoughts and feelings. That's not you. Nothing changing is you. You are the eye of the storm. This quiet center in which you do nothing will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you're sent. From this center will you be directed how to use the body sinlessly. It is from this center, from which the body is absent, that will keep it so in your awareness of it. So our only job is to live from the quiet center, not blame the world for why I'm not happy, and not think me doing something in the world will make me happy or make anyone else happy. Okay, I come home to the quiet center, and everything I need to know about what is loving and helpful and the requirement of every single moment that presents itself, I'll be told. I will know the obvious thing to do in every moment, but I will not seek myself in it. And I will not see someone else as saved in the future. I know the salvation that is here now. I share it with everyone. And now whatever the body needs to do in the dream, that will be obvious to me. But there's no investment in it. That's what's important.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Keith. Shall we open up?
Yeah, by all means.
Invite participants to connect, so you can raise
Crucify
your,
me.
yeah, you
Time to
can
crucify me now.
raise your digital hand. I will see you, or you can wave with your biological hand, and I will see you and give you the floor. Let's see if we have one who would like to ask a question or connect. Johanna, you go ahead.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Keith.
Hi,
Thank you
Joanna.
so much. I just want to say thank you for everything that you've spoken, and for using the words that you use. You said dismantle, the working mantle, and you don't put on the mantle of a preacher and a spiritual guide. And that picture is so profound to me. Really, what mantle do I put on? I just want to wear the mantle of God and the mantle of love. So thank you so much for giving that picture to me. Thank you. And you used a term, equanimity.
Yes.
That's not equilibrium, but it's what's a synonym for equanimity?
Steadiness. Nothing is changing.
Steadiness.
Nothing is changing.
Thank you.
Complete peace with whatever is going on. A mind that's not shifting and changing, which doesn't mean thoughts and feelings are not shifting and changing. They are, but something is here witness to that. Witness to the weather of thoughts and feelings dancing in the moment, but utterly untouched by it. You are that. But you can only know yourself as that through utter and complete salvation, through not doing. Only in surrender can you know the presence that's here. That there's a lovely quote in the Course where it says, there is a silence in you into which the world cannot intrude. You carry a peace in you which you haven't lost. And it's found in total surrender to the present moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your words on equanimity and all. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you, Johanna. And the next one is Panthea.
Hi, Panthea.
Hello. So I've been sitting with the being in the now, which I, with my ego thinks, of course, is the hardest thing in the world. But I see that I'm drawn to it at the same time. So this week has been, so it's very, synchronicity that you talk about the now. Because I've heard your previous talks and you talk about welcoming. Yeah. So that is a technique or a tool or to be in the now, right?
It's a tool for complete surrender. Okay. And then by that surrender, which is not a doing, it's a cessation of doing. By that surrender, what becomes known is that the truth of who you are is always in a surrendered, wide open, non-resisting awareness of what is, what appears to be happening. So again, it's important not to think surrender is a doing. It's not. It's a cessation of doing, and you can only cease doing now. So it's a surrendering of control, the illusion of control, because there's no control, because there's no separate self there in control of anything. Thoughts are happening. You don't know what thought you're going to have next. You don't have any ability to stop them. You don't have any ability to control them. That's all happening all by itself. There's no control. And so surrender is really just acknowledging there's no control here. Everything is just happening. And if I do nothing, if forgiveness is still and does nothing, resists nothing, lets all things be what they are, the truth of who you are comes to you. And it's got nothing to do with thoughts. It's got nothing to do with thinking. It is what you are outside of thinking. So the Course tells us that salvation is nothing more than the escape from concepts. Lesson 189 says, forget this world, forget this course, forget every thought you've ever had about everything and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. How do I do that? Total surrender. That's what forgiveness is. Not the mind. That doesn't surrender to anything, but that's not you. You surrender to what the mind is doing, and it has to dissolve. It has to drown in the equilibrium of who you really are. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. And I think I get confused because when I open up, let everything be, it's not always peaceful. And
no.
It's horrible. The anxiety coming up, it's just sitting with it. Then I think I'm doing wrong because I'm not in the now. Because
you're not doing it wrong, but you're misunderstanding this. The equilibrium we're talking about is utterly not state dependent. The equilibrium we're talking about is the complete freedom that the world can do whatever it's doing, that the weather of thoughts and feelings can do whatever it's doing, but something is here untouched by it. witness to it, but unsoiled and defiled by nothing. Nothing that's changing is you. The world, the body, thoughts, feelings, stories, sensations, none of that's you. Anything that's changing is not you, but there is a changelessness in you, a place that remembers perfect peace. It does not require anything of thoughts, feelings, stories, the world, bodies. It is something that is at peace with all of that. So the mistake is to think, oh, I need to have my mind peaceful. I need to go and meditate for half an hour, and then I can find this special place in my mind. Nonsense. No, you're fooling yourself. No, no, no. Total surrender in this moment brings you home to a presence which is unchanging. And it is the container within which the weather of sensations and thoughts and feelings and stories is coming up. And this container that you are is witness to all of that, but touched by none of it. So it's very important that we don't think, because even bliss states, everything is love and everything is fabulous. This is the spiritual experience. That's not you. That's changing. That's going to come and it's going to go. Don't think bliss states is going to tell you who you are. No, you are what is witness to darkest grief, to deepest despair, to the bliss state and the knowing of love as the truth of the universe. You are what witnesses all of this, but touched by none of it, colored by none of it. And you can only come home to this truth of yourself through total surrender, abandoning the illusion of control. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So the freedom we're talking about is the freedom that feelings can be whatever they want. They have to be seen to be undone by the equanimity. You know, in the Course, it says the Holy Spirit asks but this of you, bring to him every secret you've locked away from him. The Holy Spirit is saying, you join me in the equanimity through total surrender to what the body, the mind, and the world is doing. Now you are what I am. You know, when you choose a thought system, you become the thought system. If you get involved with thoughts, you'll think you're an ego. If you get involved with the equanimity through total surrender and forgiveness, you are the Holy Spirit. Okay, so you join with the Holy Spirit, and now you witness all the ego's pain and suffering and darkness that's made up. And you are the container within which it comes up, and you are the equanimity that sees it. You are the peace with the non-peace being there. And by your peace will the non-peace be dissolved. But if you're not peaceful with non-peace being there, there's nothing to dissolve it. So this isn't, our motivation is not, oh, I need to fight the non-peace. I need to get rid of the anxiety. I need to get rid of the depression. No, you don't. You need to forgive it. You need to surrender to it so the equanimity comes. And the equanimity will dissolve it. But once you try to fight the darkness, you're lost to the darkness. You only surrender. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Okay, there's this terrible fear inside of me. I'm afraid of letting it go. Well, it can't get healed. But when I say it's here, and I will not resist it, I will surrender and I will forgive the fear that's here. Something is here that fear can't touch. And as the fear is seen, as it needs to be seen, it will begin dissolving. But as long as there's the slightest desire to fight the fear, push it down, push it away, blame the world, blame my past, seek a cure in the future, once that's present, there's no equanimity here to undo it. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So don't chase bliss states. That's a mistake. The freedom we're talking about is the equanimity that's here no matter what the world, thoughts, and feelings are doing. That's what's available through total forgiveness and surrender. Yeah. And then it's almost enjoyable to be that which allows sadness to be here, because that's today's weather, and it'll dissolve.
I think Keith froze there. Let's see if he comes back. I think he's coming back. Yeah. Or maybe not. Let's see if I can connect with him.
He's here now.
Oh,
He's here again. Yes.
beautiful. Where can I see you? There you are. Let's see if we can hear you. So you are muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, my computer froze, so I'm back. I'm with you on my phone.
Oh, that's why. Got
Yeah.
it. Thank you so much. Did you have more, Pantea?
No, super happy. Thank you, Keith.
So happy.
No problem.
Wonderful. Then we have Jeanette, and then we have to finish. So Jeanette, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hi, Keith. Nice
Hello.
to see you. My question is, I used to work, you can call it as a regular coach.
Mhm.
And it was expected for me to help my clients to reach for their goals and so on.
Mhm.
And then I had the course. And so after a couple of years, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it right for me. So I just quit, and I had my own company, and I'm having it now too. But I just work with a small group of clients in this Course of Miracle more area. But then my ego got in, and so now what? So now what? What are you going to do now? You just couldn't quit. You have bills to pay, you have mortgage, and so on. So that is still confusing my mind. And I wonder if you had something to say about that.
Yeah. Return to the stillness. Return out of the I know mind to the I don't know mind, where there's peace. It's always peace and not knowing. So find the peace there. And, you're leaving the I know mind with thoughts, because that's an illusion. You're coming back to the I don't know mind, But the I don't know mind knows. It knows without thoughts.
Okay.
Okay, so A Course in Miracles is saying stop getting involved with your thoughts.
Yeah.
They don't know anything. They're nonsense. They'll keep you trapped in the matrix, in hell. Okay, get the hell out of your thoughts and come home to the peace. And from here, there is a knowing of what the helpful, useful, appropriate, and it'll just be obvious. But be very careful. A wrong-minded decision is an attempt to find peace. It's like, oh, I need to know this so I can be peaceful. If you've done that, you've got involved with the mind and there's no peace there. Instead, you want to find the peace that's here already. And now everything that comes from this peace will be right-minded, but there's no investment in it. There's no, here's how I become happy. Happiness is already here when I remember what I am outside of thoughts and the Holy Spirit. So you just come home to the quiet center where all is well, and there will be a knowing. And it's also quite extraordinary that coincidences will start to help out and things will just seem to fall into place more appropriately. That's part of it, but you can't want that and you can't see that as your salvation. Only peace is your salvation. Everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah, this is 2 years now, and in a couple of times I rushed back into school because I used to work as a teacher, and I thought, oh, well, maybe that's meant to be, and I can do that. It's fine, but now I'm not doing that.
Well, salvation isn't teaching or not teaching. Salvation is realizing that the quiet center is unaffected by either.
Yeah.
So it's opposed to nothing and chasing after nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is at peace with whatever is. And from that peace, what is to be done is obvious. But there's no seeking of happiness or myself in it. That's already here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The minute I'm chasing my salvation, chasing the solution in the world, I'm lost. But when I realize there's nothing to seek because peace is already here. So what if the body is homeless or living in a mansion? So what if it's wealthy or it's poor? So what if people think well of it or they don't? So what if it's crucified or it's not? What does it have to do with the quiet center? Now, from that quiet center, it will be obvious what to do. But don't go insisting, I have to know this moment. When you come home to the quiet center, there's the peace that's here regardless. And just keep coming home to it. And then when the appropriate time comes, because again, the healed mind doesn't plan, there is a spontaneous response to the moment which will be right from peace. But no seeking of self in it. Self is already here.
I find myself in many times in guilt. So now you have to bring some more money in and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but that's just because you're getting involved with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Don't believe any of your thoughts.
No.
Okay. But there is guilt there, but it's got nothing to do with whether you're earning money or not. It's got to do with the fact that you think you're an ego.
Yeah.
Now that's just weather. You have to see this weather. So when that guilt is there, you have to go, woohoo, perfect. This was in my unconscious mind. I didn't know it was there. And now it's getting projected onto what the body is doing. It's got nothing to do with what the body is doing. What your body is doing is emptiness dancing. It has no meaning. Okay. But your mind is projecting a meaning and going, oh, this guilt is here because the body is doing this or it's not doing that. No, it's not. That's nonsense. That's projection. But so you want to go, you want to celebrate the opportunity to sit with this guilt, total surrender to it. So this guilt that was in your mind and was controlling all actions and responses in the world that you didn't know about, now it's conscious. But get rid of the story that it's because I'm working or I'm not working. Okay, get rid of that because that's lies. You sit with the emotion and keep your thoughts the hell away from it. Okay, you give this guilt permission to be here. You surrender to it. You bring it to the equanimity of surrender. Okay, and it will be undone forever.
Do you mean Bill Free says something about it's things you have it's buried alive and now comes up.
Yeah, we made up sin, guilt, and fear to prove there was a separate self here who could be sinful, guilty, and fearful. There's not. Okay, so there's just sin, guilt, and fear, right? But there's no separate self. So there's no one there that's sinful, guilty, and fearful.
No.
Okay, but we weren't content to make up the lie of suffering to prove there was a me who could suffer. Now what we did was we made up a world that would defend us against this lie and prevent it ever being undone.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go, the world didn't do this to me. What the body is doing didn't do this to me. Nothing did this to me. I made up the world to cover this over. So let me get rid of the world and let me forgive whatever sin, guilt, and fear is here, that it be undone. And all I got to do is not blame the world for it, or my body, or anyone else's body, or time. I just have to sit with the raw emotion without the stories and forgive it. Total surrender to it brings me home to equanimity, and the equanimity will undo it.
Yeah, good training time then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of the world under the Holy Spirit's unification of purpose.
Yes.
The Course tells us that, you know, the real world is the state of mind where the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness, which is this process. Emptiness is dancing as the world and it means nothing, but your mind is going to throw up all this sin, guilt, and fear and try and project it onto emptiness dancing. And all you got to do is go, but that's just emptiness dancing. This is in my mind. And now I get to undo it once I don't blame it on the emptiness dancing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone. Thank you, Keith.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Emptiness. Thank you.
Stillness is what we are going to practice.
Yeah, and when you find the stillness, the emptiness, it is form. It shines as form everywhere, and that's the real world. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good Friday, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.